So today we're going to practice for our handwriting the letter N, and if you just go to your very next page in your English book, we can practice there. Okay, so our letter N starts halfway up the line. We go down, up, over and out. Let's try a line just with our N. Now you have to be a little bit careful. Look, this one is almost turning into an H, isn't it? So halfway up the line, leave yourself a tiny stalk, like the tiny tip of the apple, at the top of the apple, but they should be nice and even. Now, in a minute, with my ruler, and if you've got a ruler, you can try this as well at home. Can I put my ruler on the top? And they're all pretty much the same. Oh, I'm quite pleased with that, lovely. And if you've got a pink pen or a pink pencil, you can tick your favourite. Right, let's try it. We'll leave a blank line just to make it really clear. Let's try joining them up 3 at a time. So now, as you do your lead out of your N, you go up halfway, down, up and over. So we'll group them together 3 at a time. Oh, that's not quite perfect, doesn't quite touch the line. Let me try again. Start halfway up the line, trying to do it so you can all see what I'm doing. Halfway up, down, up and over. Halfway up, down, up and over, touch the line and a little lead out. Oh, we're still not quite touching the line. See, this is why it's so good to practice, because the more you practice, the better you will be. I'm going to do it this time, I'm going to do it. Hooray, perfect. So that one's my favourite so far. So you should have a line of ends not joined together and a line of ends joined together in groups of 3. Okay, right, we are going to try this now with the word nut. So N, into the nice tall T, nearly touching the line above. And then when you finish the whole word, that's when you go back to cross your T. Starting halfway up your line, don't forget your finger space. Lovely. One more. Okay. And if you've got another N word you'd like to practice, you can do it underneath. Now, I'm not going to spoil my book with this, but this is what I definitely don't want to see. An N like this. So make sure that when you do your N, you go down, up and over, and not, as I've seen some people do, not necessarily in this class. So that does not say runny. This is how you would write it. Down, up and over, down, up and over, and then into your ya. Okay, have a practice with your N. So our TLP for today, and you can start it underneath your handwriting or on the next page if you've run out of space. Our TLP for today is, can I improve said words? Now, if we take our copy of Jim and the Beanstalk and we have a look through and see how many saids we can underline. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in a bit closer here on Jim and the Beanstalk, and I'm going to use my red pen. So if you've got a red pen or red pencil handy, that would be great. We're going to underline wherever it says said and try and think about how we could improve some of those words. Early one morning, Jim woke up and saw an enormous plant growing outside his window. That's funny, he said. It wasn't there yesterday. I'll see how high it goes. There's no more saids in that sentence. It certainly is a big plant, he said as he went into the clouds. When he reached the top of the plant, Jim saw a castle. I'm hungry, he said. I'll ask at the castle for breakfast. I hope they have some cornflakes. Jim ran to the castle and knocked on the door. He waited and waited until the door was slowly opened by a very old giant. Aha, said the giant. A boy, a nice juicy boy. 3 fried boys on a slice of toast. That's what I used to enjoy eating in the old days, but I've got no teeth now. Come in, boy, you're quite safe. The giant shared his breakfast of beef and beer with Jim. It's a funny breakfast, isn't it? Is your name Jack? He asked. Now, we don't need to improve that one because it already says asked, which is more interesting. Is your name Jack? He asked. No, said Jim. It's Jim. Did you come up the beanstalk? Asked the giant. I came up some sort of a plant, said Jack. Okay, I'm going to pause there, but you can carry on with your red pen, underlining all the said words, thinking about what might be better and how you could improve them. Okay, so now we have our boring said verbs. Let's think about how to improve them. And don't forget, if you flick back in your English book to a couple of weeks ago, you should, not there, that's all our cooking words. Here we go. You should have a range of words for said, which might give you some ideas. So, in fact, my first sentence is, that's funny, he said. And I think maybe he might have, maybe he muttered it to himself. Maybe he said, that's funny, he muttered. Because I was thinking maybe it would be happy because he says funny, but I don't think he would have laughed it. So I'm going to go with, that's funny, he muttered. It wasn't there yesterday. So I'm not going to write out my whole story into my book. It's not a good use of my time. But I'm going to change this sentence into, that's funny. And this is really lucky for me because I can just copy the punctuation and the spellings, and all I need to do is make sure I spell muttered correctly. So again, I've got my lovely bank here. There's muttered, muttered. That's funny, he muttered. Lovely. So I've already improved one sentence. Right, where's the next sentence with a said in? It certainly is a big plant, he said as he went into the clouds. Now, I've got a good idea for this one. I don't know if it's on my book. No, it's not. He exclaimed. It certainly is a big plant, he exclaimed as he went into the clouds. You could also maybe have laughed. Might just leave... no, actually, I was going to say I'll leave a blank line, but I don't think I need to. Actually, I can carry on here. Save paper, save the planet. It certainly is a big plant. And we put a comma inside the speech marks. He exclaimed. And here I could say he giggled or he laughed, because he might be thinking how strange this big beanstalk is. That's funny, he muttered. It certainly is a big plant, he exclaimed. Okay, move my work up slightly. When he reached the top of the plant, Jim saw a castle. I'm hungry, he said. I think I'm going to use moaned, because it is a bit of a moan, isn't it? I'm hungry, he moaned. You could also use whinged or complained. So speech marks, capital letter, actual words spoken. I'm hungry, comma, speech marks. I'm hungry, he moaned. Good. Lovely. So again, every time I've got my boring said, I've improved it with a more interesting verb. I'll do one more, then I'll let you guys have a go. Aha, said the giant. Now again, I could have used exclaimed there. That would be a lovely one for that. But but I've used it once already, so I don't want to use it again. Let's see what I could use. Aha, bellowed the giant. Aha, roared the giant. I might say bellowed. He's not bellowing because he's cross. He's just bellowing because he's got a very loud voice because he's a giant. So I'm going to say, aha, bellowed the giant. Bellowed the, and giant. He's got a capital G because that's his name. Aha, bellowed the giant, full stop. Okay, so I'd like you to go through the story, picking out the boring said words and improving them using your word bank. When you've done a few, you can go through and with your red pen or pencil, you can carefully, I might even use a ruler just to make sure it is careful, you can carefully underline the verbs you've improved to prove that you've done it. He moaned, bellowed the giant. And this is quite nice as an example, because often we say he moaned or Jim moaned, those sorts of things. But this is turned around and it says, aha, bellowed the giant. So rather than aha, the giant bellowed, we've switched the order to keep our writing fresh and interesting. Okay, up to you how many of those you do. I would suggest you probably do at least another 4 or 5. And if you really want to challenge yourself, you can carry on and do some more. Look forward to seeing how you improve your said words in the story a bit later on. Goodbye.